Hello, my name is Charlie Ingalls and I'm talking to you today from Ottawa, Canada. I'm the developer of the Mobile SCD app, and I'm here today to talk about the new version 5, which has in fact been completely rewritten and is now up to date for both iOS and for Android. There are some new features in it that I hope you enjoy, and we'll get to them in a few minutes. In the meantime, just some background. The app was originally written just for dancers who were going to socials or balls or other events and would like to take along the program on their mobile phone rather than taking along paper, since they probably have their phone with them anyway. What happened was I got good feedback from teachers as well, and the teachers asked for some features to be added to help them devise their teaching programs, and that was added in versions 3 and 4. I've added another feature in version 5 where there's now a built-in audio player in the program, so that not only will you have your instructions, but you'll be able to play the music from the same screen. And I hope that turns out to be useful. We'll get into more of that when I do the demo in a few minutes. Just before we do that, I'd like to thank various people. Azam from RSCDS, or rather Scottish Country Dance Database. We have James from Mini Cribs, and we have Keith from Keith Rose Diagrams, as well as Lydia Hedge, who put up with testing out this program for endless hours. She's very good at breaking programs, and she's broken it several times, but I think we've now got a version that will in fact continue. So let's get on and look at the app itself. When you open the app, the first thing that you'll see is these welcome screens. The welcome screens will only appear once the first time you open the program. See the following screens, which are an introduction to the program and give you an idea of some of the new features and what to expect in the program. Once you get into the program, you'll first of all be prompted to set your first list name. You can set that, and you'll notice that appears at the top under the heading Mobile Scottish Country Dance Crib. At that point you can start to type in names of the dances that you want to add to your list, and as we go through this you'll see that you'll get several of them, and the more you type the shorter the list is. And we'll just add one more, and good old D8 Some Real will add that to the list as well. So those are the items that you can add. You can also add, rather than the dance name, you can add by the publication. So for instance, if we type in book 40, what you'll see is all the dances that were in book 40. You can move through them and add one in. We'll do the postcode dance in this case. You can also go in by Deviser. So again, just clicking on this menu, choose Deviser. John Drury sounds like a good Deviser, so if we type in John Drury, we'll see the John Drury dances that are on the Scottish Country Dance Database, and we can choose one of them to add to the program. The other options you have is format. Now this is very specific. You type in the number of bars that you have, first of all, whether it's a real strathspey or jig, SRJ, space, slash, space again, 3C for 3 couples, and 3 couple longwise set. And what you'll see is a list of all the strathspeys that are 3 couples for a 3 couple longwise set, and we'll just choose one of those and add it to our list. Now, there's various other things. You might want to move the dances around in the program. You just lightly tap on the right hand side and pull up and down to change the order of the dances. You can also, by holding for a while longer, you'll get a menu and you can add in whether it's an extra on that last dance, or you can change it to an alternative, or if you decide neither is applicable, again pressing for a little bit and you can go down and delete that. So it is possible to specify those. Now there are other things that you can also add to the list, and those are non-dance items. So what happens is you choose these. For instance, we might want a break in the program, so we can add an intermission, and we can add some notes to that. For instance, you might want to thank the band for the great playing that they're doing tonight. So you can remind yourself with that in a note, and we have intermission at the bottom, and if we click on that, we'll see there's a note appears just reminding us to thank the band. The intermission is probably not going to be at the end, so you want to move it up to the middle of the program. There are various other options that you have in non-dance items, and we'll bring up the list there. We first of all have, for instance, if it's a dance program or a class, you might want to have some warm-ups. In this case, what we'll do is we'll decide that we're going to do a slow waltz, and that we'll be using that slow waltz for some stretches. So we can just put that in again and putting short forms in just so you can see what happens. You add the item, and you'll notice it appears at the bottom, and we can move it up to the top as we'll do our warm-up before we do anything else. We also have some other options that we can put in here. For instance, we might want to do some step practice. So we can choose step practice, and we can, let's say we're going to do a pas de pas, and of course the notes would be to remind us to make sure the dancers do their 3 beats in the pas de pas. And we want to add that item, and again it appears at the bottom, and all we have to do is move to the bottom and slide it up to where we want to do it. We'll do it before the 8ths and reel. So here's our first list. We've built it up. We can do various other things with it, but let's, for instance, rename the first list as something else. So we'll call it first list changed. We rename it, and you'll notice at the top it says first list changed again. We can duplicate the list. It'll give us the same name and copy after, but you can change that as you want. So now we have 2 lists, and if we look at that, we've got the first list changed and the first list changed copy. We can do various other things. Obviously we can delete a list. Let's delete that copy, we really don't need it. So we just highlight the change copy and delete selected, and it is deleted. We can show that by going back to the saved lists, and there's now only 1 list again there. Do a copy of a specific dance on the list. You click on the left hand side where there's a little duplicate there, and it asks you whether you want to put it on an existing list or a new list. You can type in its name, and then you can see there's a new list, and the new list just has the dance that you copied over. So if you have dances in various lists and you want to put them together in a new list, that is one way of doing it. The other option obviously is to just type in the name of the list. Okay. You can also get lists from the cloud that used to be called shared storage. It's now called the cloud. I'm going to load a list by number, 1740, which happens to be a social program. It again gives you a name. You can change the name as you read it in, or keep the name as it was saved, and there you have a full list already to display. You can also save the current list to the cloud, so we'll resave it, and notice at the bottom it gives you a number 1747, so it's now on the cloud storage as 1747. Presumably you've made some changes to it before you do that. If you can't remember the numbers of the lists that you've created, you can go and the display delete option, and you'll notice the ID of each of the lists is displayed there. So if you forget them, you can remember. It's also the number that you want to give your friends. If you want to share the list from the cloud storage, if they're using the app, just give them that 4-digit number, and they'll be able to download the list themselves. The other area you can get it from is the Scottish Country Dance Database. Any programs you've got in there, you can download them. I'll download a list of 1,000, and that was the West Mac Ball in 2013, in fact, it's an old one, and here's the full ball list there. Again, we've copied in 2 more lists, so if we look to see what lists we've got, there's the list of those. The other thing you can do with the program is you can create a PDF of the program. Now this now works both in iOS and in Android. We'll just pretend we're going to print it out, and there you are. You can see the list. It gives you the instructions and the diagrams. You have an option of whether to show the diagrams or not. It will also show any non-dance items in there, for instance intermissions and the notes that you created for those. And as I said, you can print them or you can just save them as a PDF. Now we're going to open one of our other lists, the October Social, and let's go into that. And what we'll do is we'll go down to the Dance Joie de Vivre and click on it, and what we get is we get the details. We get the Keith Rose diagrams, and we get the mini crib or other briefs for the dance. You can add notes to that, say who you want to dance as a partner with it, or if you're a teacher, specific things that you want to stress. And we'll make sure the sets are aligned here. The note then appears on the same page, so you've got notes of what you want to do with the dance. And you can then go up to menu and choose the audio player. Clicking on the audio player will allow you to go into your either cloud storage or storage on the device and choose one of the recordings that you want to use. The player is set up so that by just pressing the normal button it'll start playing. Now I've put some choices at the bottom there, so if it's a bit fast for dancing or it's a slippy floor, you might want to change the speed somewhat. It keeps the same pitch but it slows down the speed there, and I've made some different choices just in case. I've also got some speeding up. If you've got a really slow one that's a bit draggy, you can speed it up. You can stop them, and on the other button it will take you to the beginning of the cut again, and you can play it again. The other option you have here is the video. So if you want to see what the video is, you'll see a choice of up to 6 videos along the bottom, and you can just play the videos and watch them in that format. If you want to see more information or you want to see it more clearly, you can turn it on its side. This recording doesn't do that, but this is actually on its side, and you get a full screen of the video. And this is the same on the details page for the Keith Rose diagram. If you turn it on its side, you'll see a bigger version of it. If you go back to the normal up and down version, you'll notice the video keeps playing. So those are the options that you can have within there. Now we'll just go down to one other dance just to show you this. It's the reel of the 51st Division. Not only do we have the Cribs and Videos tab, we also have the Explanations tab, and some of these explanations actually have links to the actual instructions of the dances, which may be useful as well. So there we have the app. I hope you enjoy it. If you've got any questions, you can send me an email, charlie@mobcrib.ca. Enjoy the app.